Hey everyone, in this video, let's take a look at question 297, serialize and deserialize binary tree on Leetcode. This is part of our blind 75 list of questions, so let's begin. In this question, we want to design an algorithm to serialize and deserialize a binary tree. There's no restriction on how your serialization slash deserialization algorithm should work. You just need to ensure that a binary tree can be serialized into a string and the string can be deserialized into the original tree structure. So just some background on what serialize and deserialize mean. It essentially means that we want to encode all of the information of this binary tree onto a string. And so, for example, if we pass someone this string, then using the deserialize method, they're able to come up with this exact tree again. And this is, you can read some more about here, but serialization is basically converting the data structure into a sequence of bits or a string or something like that. So we're given a tree here, and we want to think of an efficient way to serialize it, which in turn will make it a string, and then that string will be passed into the deserialize function, and then we'll create a tree node out of it again. Okay, so what is one way in which we can serialize a binary tree? Now, notice that binary trees, right? We have a couple of ways to like go through a binary tree. We have the in-order traversal, we have the pre-order traversal, and we also have the post-order traversal. Now, which one of these can we actually use to like serialize our binary tree? We know we have to use one of them, right? Because we have to go through the binary tree. And so when we go through the binary tree, based on the one that we use, we have to make sure that our serialization is unique. So the question is now is like, which one of the binary tree traversals is unique as per like generating the binary tree? For example, is a pre-order unique? Is a post-order unique? Is an in-order unique? Now, it turns out, and this is just one of those common facts that you have to know, that a pre-order traversal is always unique. A pre-order traversal of a binary tree will always return the nodes in a specific order and they will be unique. It's possible that if you have a post-order traversal or maybe an in-order traversal, it can actually return you the same nodes even though you're using two different types of traversals. However, a pre-order traversal will always return you a unique string, a unique tree. So just given that fact, given that we know that fact, and you can read more about like why this is the case, but given that we know that pre-order traversal is the unique one, we can maybe go ahead and somehow encode this in terms of a pre-order traversal. Now, how might we go about doing this, right? So in terms of the pre-order traversal, what do we do? Well, in a pre-order traversal, this is kind of often how we write our algorithms, right? We visit the root, and then we visit the left child, and then we visit the right child. So in this case, let's maybe just go ahead and take a look at like what pre-order might make, right? So I'm just going to maybe write a helper function here from a pre-order traversal. So I'll just call this root. And what will pre-order do? Well, maybe let's go ahead and let's add all of these elements into a array. So maybe I can just pass in my array here. I'll just call it L for my array. So in a pre-order traversal, basically, as long as root exists, what I want to do, I want to add root.val to my list, and then I want to recurse on the left-hand side, and then I want to recurse on the right-hand side. So that's what pre-order means. Pre means you access the root at the start. So now let's just go ahead and return a string. Here I'm just going to return an empty string, and here I will just return none here. The function will fail, but it's just to kind of print out what this will give us. So let's go ahead and run root here. So let's try this out on this one tree over here. And it looks like I'm missing, and I need to provide in a list, right? So I'll provide in like an empty list over here. And actually I can just print the list here. So maybe I can create the list here and then just pass it in and then print it here. Okay, so let's go ahead and just see what this gives us. Missing a parameter, I'm missing the list here. Okay, now hopefully it should run. Okay, so it gives us a value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So it's the root, it's the left-hand part, there's nothing to the left of it, so we go back, and then it's the right-hand part, which is 3, and it's the left-hand part, and then it's the right-hand part. Now, in this case, like let's say we were to do an in-order traversal, right? Let's say we were to do an in-order traversal, what would you get in this case? In this case, you can see we get a different value, right? Like 2, 1, 4, 3, 5. If we did a post-order traversal, what would we get? Right, so we get 2, 4, 5, 3, 1. So in this case, we actually get a unique one for all three of them, but often this won't turn out to be the case. You might have the case where post order and in order return the same one. So we're always going to go ahead and use the pre-order traversal here. Okay, so now that I have the pre-order traversal, what can I do? Well, if you think about this one, right, like we need to encode the binary tree here. And when we encode the binary tree, what I'm doing is like I'm encoding all of this information here. But notice that like I have no reference of like the none, right? Like I have no reference that 2 has no children, 4 has no children, 5 has no children. I have no inference of that. So how might we then go about like doing that, right? And you might actually get a hint here. Like if you take a look here, like we're given a 1, 2, 3, and then no, no, right? So you can kind of think of like the no applying to the 2 here. We can maybe Leetcode understands this as like 3, or actually like the 2 here, because we do 1, 2, 3, and then we're like back at the 2. Maybe this has no children. So maybe like that's like a potential scenario we might want to go ahead and use. So how might we go about doing that? Well, we need to encode the no somehow, right? So let's maybe encode the no with some sort of character that is not really like important. So here we can see that number will always be like from -100, -1000 to 1000. So maybe if root does not exist, then maybe we can just add in, we can't have root of out because this will be none. Maybe we can just add in something like a hashtag, right? Or something like this. Let's take a look here. What does this give us? So now we get something like this. We get 1, 2, and then actually here as part of the pre-order, we can see that we have no children of 2, right? And then 3, 4, and then no children of 4. That's why you have 2 hashtags. And then 5, and then no children of 5. Okay, perfect. So now it looks like we have some sort of way of serializing our binary tree. Now, if I give you this, you know that this is the in-order traversal, right? So you can go ahead and construct this again, just based off of this information here. So we'll see how to do that in the deserialize case. And there might actually be a similar question, like, okay, it's not this one, but there's a similar question in which you have to construct a binary tree based off of its pre-order traversal. So we might be able to use that. But anyways, what can we do here? So here we have like our list, right? But we want to return a string. So what can we do? Well, we can maybe just return comma dot join L, right? So what happens here is basically we just join everything with a comma. So let's take a look here. Now we might actually run into an error, yeah, because when you're adding, we need to add in a string here. We need to add in string because you cannot join integers together. So that's just one thing. But now basically what we're going to have is we're going to have something like this. So it's basically the same thing we had before, but now it is in a string format. And then we can go ahead and return this. Okay, so we go ahead and return that, and we actually can just fix this up. So dot return. No, actually, no, I need this, right? Yeah, I need this as it is. Okay, so let's not touch this. So now we have, at least we're serializing the tree properly. Okay, now how do we go about like deserializing this tree, right? What can we do in this case? Well, remember what like pre-order traversal is, right? So let me take a copy of. Okay, so let's go ahead and open Paint to see if we can better understand how our traversal here is going to work, how we're actually going to construct the tree. And notice that this string over here, we created using a pre-order traversal. So here, we visit the root first, then we visit the left, we visit the right. Notice that when we are visiting the left, we will keep visiting left as long as we can, right? We will keep visiting left until we arrive at a place that has no children. That's simply how the pre-order traversal works. And so what we will do in this case is that if we have the following string here, we can just go ahead and recreate it also using a pre-order traversal. So how can we maybe go about doing that? Well, one thing we know in the pre-order traversal is that the first element has to be the root, right? So this first element that I see, it has to be a root, which means that initially we'll have something like this. We'll have a node, and then this one will be the 1. Now what do I know? When pre-order, after the root is visited, then we go ahead and we visit the left-hand side. We go ahead and we visit the left-hand side. So basically all of this can encode the left-hand side of the tree. But notice, we only keep visiting the left until we arrive at nothing, right? Until we arrive at a node in which we can no longer visit the left anymore. What does that look like? In this case, we'll visit the 1, we'll visit the 2, we'll try to visit the left here, but there's nothing. So then we'll backtrack, and then we'll visit the right. And then we'll backtrack again, and now here the left-hand side is done, and so then we'll visit the right-hand side. So it's the same thing here. Basically what we will do is we'll keep visiting the left here, and so this 2 over here actually gets added as one of the nodes. So we have a node here, which is the 2. And notice I'm constructing the binary tree in this way, and so here we actually have a connection here, just like so. And then we'll go ahead and visit left-hand side again, And now here, we'll actually visit a null. This is like an empty node. So in this case, we can understand that 2 essentially has no children. And if we arrive at a case where we have no children, then we know we're done our left call. So then we can go back and then we can go towards our right call. So what is our right call going to be? Notice how it's just like the next item. I'm just always looking at the next item in the string over here. Right? I'm just looking at the next item in the string. Our next call here will also just be an X, an empty node. Okay? So now we basically looked at all of this, and remember, we're also creating this using a recursive stack, a recursive algorithm, the inner traversal. But basically, this is what we're going through here. Okay, so now we've essentially visited left-hand side all that we could. We visited right-hand side all that we could. And so notice that this is actually all, it's originally all just the left-hand side of 1. So we're basically completely done this call for 1, for this first node here. So now we have to go ahead and do the right-hand side. So in the right-hand side, what will we do? Well, first of all, this 3 over here will get added on. So this 3 over here is a child over here. So now this 3 becomes this 3 over here. And now we have a connection between 1 and 3. And now we visited the root. And so again, now we're going to go towards the 4. We're going to go towards the left. And we notice that the left here is essentially this 4. And then there is a null that is attached to the 4. So then we have something like this. Okay, but notice that after this, we go back, and now we're going to look at the right-hand side, which is also a 4. So now we've actually processed this node here as well. And then, now we're basically done the left-hand side of 3, and so we're going to do the same thing for 5. And so then I'll just go ahead and do these really quickly. Basically, what we will have is we will have our 5 over here, have a connection here. This will be 5, and then 5 will be linked to 2 nodes that are null here. And notice how here, using in-order traversal, we've serialized it, and we've also deserialized it into the same tree. Okay, so now we just have one more question to answer, is that how do I keep knowing which node I'm at in the recursive call, right? In the first recursive call, I'm at this node here. In this call here, I'm at this node here. So if you think about this one, we have a big list here, and all we're really doing is we're taking the top element, right? So maybe we can think of this in terms of a queue. And every single time, every single recursive call, we just go ahead and we pop from the queue. And so if we pop from the queue in this part, we'll get just the number 1. If we pop here, we'll get the number 2. And then notice that in this recursive call, we'll actually go ahead and we'll get this value here. So it's not like we're just increasing by 1 every time, but we'll just go ahead and keep modifying this queue. So initially, after this is processed, we'll remove it, etc. And then we'll keep going towards the end. Okay, so let's take a look at how we can write the code for this. Okay, so what can we do here? Well, first of all, we note that we're given the input as a string, right? This deserialize, this data here will be a string. So I think first thing we can do is maybe just go ahead and convert this back to a list, right? Because we need to eventually pop from this list. So we can go ahead and pop from the list. So in order for us to pop from the list, notice how we're just popping from the front, right? So this is kind of just like a queue. If you think about it, it's just like a queue data structure. Queue data structure always pops from the front. So we can maybe do something like Q is equal to data.split and the comma. So here we will create our array. And now maybe I can just have my helper function, which I'll call create. And now I'll just pass in the Q. Now maybe let me just create over here. Q. Okay, so what does create need to do? Well, first of all, we need to make sure that Q exists, right? If Q does not exist, then we can't really pop from it. So we can do something like if Q. Otherwise, if Q does not exist, then we'll just return none, right? Because we can't really do anything there. So if Q, now what? Well, now we need to pop from the Q, right? So I can do something like node is equal to Q.pop, and I'll pop from the left-hand side, so 0. So notice how this will change the Q call in all of the recursive calls, right? It's not just this one. It will basically, because this is a list, it will change it in all of the recursive calls. Okay? So now what? Well, now I basically can check, right? So this will be a string, actually. I can maybe name this value. If value is equal to something like an empty value here, then we just return none. Otherwise, it's an integer, so it's one of these. So we can create a node for it, which is tree node. So I can say list, or not. I can do node is equal to tree node. And this will be int value, because our value is a string, so we have to convert it to int. And then we just do a recursive calls, like we did in pre-order at the very top here. So we have our left-hand side, which will do a recursive call, self.create. And we just pass in the queue because we've already removed the appropriate amount of elements, so we don't need to do anything there. We'll do the same thing here. And then I would just assign this to my node. Go to node.write is equal to write. And then I can just return the node in the end. And that's basically all we have. So let's go ahead and run our test cases here. Okay, let's go ahead and submit. Okay, awesome. It also works. Now, one way you could actually improve this is by using like a dequeue. So I think what you could do here is you could use, I think it's like dequeue and something like this. And dequeue essentially it makes this operation much better. So I think here we do pop left instead of pop. So this might be a way to do dequeue. Let's go ahead and try submitting this. See if that kind of improves the speed. Okay, so yeah, that definitely like improved the speed, right? So that's just another way, but often that's not needed. But anyways, for time and space, I would basically just consider this like a O of n time algorithm, right? Here for the space, really because like we're passed in a list, you can consider it, but otherwise like the space is pretty much constant here. But yeah, like we have to store in a list, so maybe you want to consider it there. Anyways, yeah, that is this question.